Hey guys, what's up? Ram here. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how you guys can save money when you work a minimum wage job or you're a low income earner. So I'm going to be honest guys, this is going to be a bit of a long video and I'm going to really dive into about and tell you guys about my story and whatnot and how I first started working and making like minimum wage and how I managed to get to where I am today. And it's going to be a bit of a long video, so I'm just going to warn you guys up front because I'm really going to talk about a lot of different things here, but I'm going to share with you guys everything I've done over the past couple years, for the past almost decade now, where I first started earning like a minimum wage job, like $10 an hour ish kind of thing, gotten to the point now where I make now almost $18 an hour at my current job, and I like make money from home and I make money from investing and all that kind of stuff as well. So first of all, let's talk about like how I first started working, because it's kind of funny to talk about this, and I understand a lot of people are kind of in this situation, or maybe you have been in the past, and I'm here to tell you guys that I have been in that situation in the past, and it is hard, but it's definitely doable, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys all kinds of tips and stuff like that that I did to help kind of make things easier at that time, and also just kind of like inspire you guys and show you guys that it's definitely doable. It's not impossible. In fact, if I look back at my life when I was earning like minimum wage and I was just barely getting by, it was a kind of interesting time, and I kind of enjoyed that part of my life in a lot of interesting ways, because it really makes you kind of appreciate things in life, and life feels different. Like once you start earning more money, once you start getting ahead, it is nice in a sense, because like that sense of stress and all that worrying kind of goes away, but at the same time your expectations change, and you know the saying how it's never good enough kind of thing starts to settle in. I think that's why you see a lot of like rich people kind of like just get rid of everything and like focus on a minimalistic lifestyle, is because when you have less, you have more kind of things. So when you're making minimum wage and stuff like that, you can really start to kind of see and appreciate things. And I know even some of you guys might be doing this for a while, and it might be wearing on you. But here in this video, I'm going to share with you guys some tips on how you can avoid that, and how you can get rid of get out of the grind, and how you guys can start saving and stuff and getting ahead, because it will wear you down eventually. If you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, you're constantly having a hard time not knowing if you're going to be able to pay for your bills or feed your family or whatever it might be. It can be tough. And I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's more about teaching you guys how to save your money, because it's not so much about making more money, because if you don't know how to save your money, you're just going to end up spending it in the end. So in this video, I'm going to really emphasize on saving, and then over time you guys can also earn some income, and your income will rise and stuff like that, of course. But you need to learn how to save your money, because saving your money will teach you guys. It'll teach you guys how to save, and like that mental aspect of being like, oh my God, am I gonna be able to pay for my bills and stuff like that, will go away, because you'll have that money saved up and your bank account will start to grow. So the main focus here is to start maybe saving about $500 to $1,000 a month. Now I know when working minimum wage and if you're a low income family, that might seem tough, but it's definitely doable. And that's probably, like, I want you guys to kind of just think in your head, like imagine from now, if you save $500 a month over the course of a year, that's about $6,000. If you save $1,000 a month, if you guys can save $1,000 a month, I know some people it might not be doable, but I just want you guys to start thinking about that. You could save up to $12,000 a month. I mean, $12,000 a year, sorry. And so I want you guys to think about in your head, like imagine your life with a couple $1,000s in the bank. Imagine your life with maybe $6,000. Imagine your life with maybe $12,000 in the bank, because after just 1 year of following these tips, I guarantee that you guys can do this. Now, before we get into the video and I talk about these money saving tips, I just want to say really quickly, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video in any single way, please smash that subscribe button. Please smash that like button. The channel is currently sitting at 940 subscribers, and I appreciate everybody who supports this channel, but we're so close to being monetized. So if you guys really like this video, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more videos like this, and let's push this channel to get monetized. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is I'm going to talk about when I first started working. I moved out from home at a very young age. We're going to talk about housing very first, because I think housing is the biggest thing to talk about, and depending on where you live, housing can be anywhere between couple $100 a month to a couple $1,000, or easily a couple $1,000 a month. So it's an important thing to talk about, and I think it's the biggest thing that people are spending on their budget. So when I first turned 18, I moved out of home, and here's the thing I'm going to say right off the hop. I know a lot of people are kind of like, in my opinion, this depends heavily on your situation, but if you can, living at home for a few extra years can make a big difference. Like if you can find a way to live with your parents and make things work, and you stay at home, you can really cut back immensely on your rent. Like most one bedroom apartments where I live are currently sitting about, if you really look around, you might be able to get one for $600 to $800 a month, and that's like a crappy one bedroom apartment kind of thing. Obviously, like you might have the whole place to yourself kind of thing, and we're going to talk about how you can cut that back. But you know, you're paying like $600 to $800, maybe even $1,000 a month for some places, and it's just crazy expensive, right? So if you're living in a bigger city like I am, cutting that back by like living with your parents can make a huge difference. Now I know obviously some people might not have that option, and for me, when I was 18, I moved out because it wasn't working with my parents. Like my parents did an amazing job of raising me, and I have a good relationship with both my parents. But you know, just because I was like, you know, turning into an adult at the time, and I was like kind of a, you know, a young kid who thought I knew everything, things just weren't really working with my parents. So I had to get out of the house, had to kind of do my own thing kind of thing, just for my mental health and stuff like that. And I know a lot of you guys might be in that situation as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you can kind of like rough it out with your parents for a couple years, you can make a big, like, imagine like, instead of paying $600 a month for rent or $500, imagine paying like $200 like for rent if you live with your parents. And I encourage you guys to at least pay something for rent, because you know your parents raised you. They're letting you stay with you. They're letting you stay at their house. You know, give them something, even if it's just like $200 a month or something for groceries or something like that. Give them something back for raising you and taking care of you and bringing you into this world. And at the same time, you can teach you guys some money saving tips by how, like, teach you guys ahead of time to start saving for your rent and stuff like that. So you know, maybe pay like $200-300 a month, something like that. Help your parents out, but you can just save tons of money. You could easily save like $500 a month just staying with your parents for a little bit of time. And it can only be like, it doesn't have to be a long period of time. If you work really hard at this, guys, like I said, if you could save $500 a month, you could end up with $6,000 at the end of the year. If you save $1,000 a month, you could end up with $12,000 just after 1 year, and that's crazy. So if you can live with your parents, that's my first step. The best thing you can do. If you can't live with your parents, you're going to want to move out. And like I said, living in a one-bedroom apartment can be really expensive, but getting roommates can really cut down the cost. And you guys are going to have to look around. And I understand like some of you guys won't want to live with other people, but it's just a reality in a lot of places. Like housing here, especially in Canada, is crazy expensive, especially in the big cities. It's just the way it is. You know, you're going to have to find a roommate if you want to really cut back, especially if you're a low-income earner. And it makes a big difference. Like you can find a 2-bedroom place or a 2-bedroom main unit house. Like I live in this main unit. It's a main unit house with my girlfriend. It's got a front yard. It's got a backyard. It's a 2-bedroom place. It's actually pretty decent. We pay about $900, a little bit over $900 a month, all inclusive. Now this is a really under market price because we lived here for a long time. So like, you know, our rent has slowly been increasing by little bit amounts, but everybody else's rent is like jumping up crazy over the past couple of years. As the real estate is in Canada in most places. So we pay a pretty cheap price. So I pay like $500 a month, but like you can still get some places for about $1,000-ish, maybe $1,100, maybe $1,200 where I live. So if you split it with one person, maybe you pay like $500-600 a month for rent. That's not too bad, you know. And if you split it with 3 people, you cut that back to maybe $300 each. You can kind of see where I'm going. Like you don't have to like go crazy and live with like 6 people in like a 3-bedroom house or something like that. But if you have like a 2-bedroom house, maybe you can get like 2 people or 3 people. I slept on my buddy's couch for a couple months. I remember I slept on my buddy's couch for like 4 months to get ahead. We had 3 guys living in a 2-bedroom house. It was fine. Like at the time, I didn't care. We would just play video games and hang out all the time, kind of thing. And I'd go to work and whatnot. And we'd pay like $300 a month each for rent, kind of thing. And it was super cheap. And I saved up a ton of money just working like for I think it was like making $11 an hour at the time. So like you really can save a lot of money if you get your housing in check. But and keep in mind, guys, you don't have to do this long term. Like you don't have to live with somebody forever, especially if you save your money. If you work hard and you save, you can get ahead. You can start investing that money and whatnot. That money will compound and grow, and you can really improve your situation really quickly. So getting your housing in check, I think, is the number one thing that you need to do, and work hard at reducing that rent because it really makes a difference at the end of the day. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is transportation, and this is another big one, and this is another thing I think that makes a lot of people poor, or even people who do make good wage. It really burns their budget, and I see so many people doing this, especially people in like the upper middle class. If you're making like minimum wage, it depends on your situation. You might not be able to afford a vehicle, but I see so many people, especially couples and families, that make minimum wage jobs. They have vehicles. And here's the thing, guys, if you're working minimum wage or low income and you really want to save money, I would strongly suggest, if possible, get rid of your car. get rid of your vehicle, or at least get rid of the monthly payments. If you have to have a vehicle, like I understand some people have kids and stuff like that and you have to have a vehicle, maybe, but if you can, try to get rid of the vehicle, or at the very least reduce that minimum monthly payment to zero, and try to save money on gas and stuff like that, and buy something used, because vehicle payments are crazy, and insurance here is crazy as well. Like, you're paying like $230 a month for insurance plus gas, and then if you have a car payment, you're paying like maybe another couple $100. You can see, like, when you're making like $500 to $600 a paycheck, maybe $700 if you're making a little bit more than minimum wage, but you can see how that, like, your money just goes out the window when you have a vehicle. So having a vehicle, I think, is one of the biggest drainers for people who make low income. And I didn't have a vehicle throughout the whole entire time I made minimum wage. In fact, to this day, I don't have a vehicle. I don't have a vehicle yet. I'm thinking about getting one maybe next year when my girlfriend is done college and we're both working full time and making good money. But the thing about vehicles is it's just so crazy expensive. Like, especially like I said, if you're making like $1,000 a month ish, and you're paying like 300, 400, half that's going towards a vehicle, you're not going to be able to save money. So think about public transportation. Get a bike if you can bike. I walk to work. I live 20 minutes away from work. It's a pretty sweet situation, I got to be honest. I walk to work every day. I spend 20 minutes. I walk to work and I walk home, guys. It's really not that hard. Like, a lot of people think I'm crazy for walking to work for 20 minutes, and I'm just like, you know what? It's like people are so lazy that they can't walk to work and save like a couple $100 a month by not having a vehicle. Like, it's crazy, And there's buses and stuff like that. So take the bus if you have to. Ride a bike if you have to. Like, I used to ride a bike when I was younger. When I used to work midnights at a grocery store, I used to ride my bike to work because the bus transit wouldn't run that late. Like, our bus transit would end like at 11 o'clock or something silly like that. So I used to have the bike to work at midnight, to work at midnight shift at the grocery store. And yeah, I rode a bike every day, and it's just something you do, guys. It's really not that bad. I just did it for a couple years, and probably did it longer than I should have. But yeah, if you can cut back on that transportation, it really makes a big difference, and it'll allow you to save. So if you can get rid of the vehicle, get rid of the vehicle. If you can't get rid of the vehicle and you're working a minimum wage job, I would question maybe you need to get a new job, or maybe you need to find a place that's closer to a job where you can work and not have a vehicle, because it really makes a big difference. All right, so another big one I see, and another big killer I've experienced myself, and I was really bad at this when I was younger, was not shopping at the right places. But I learned pretty quickly, like when you work minimum wage and you're just scraping by, you learn pretty quickly how to save money on groceries. And you don't have to go crazy and buy like crappy stuff. It's just more common sense stuff. Like when you go to the grocery store, like, buy stuff when it's on sale and stuff like that. Look up some recipes, look up some cheap meals. There's so many references on the internet where you can go and look up cheap meals. Like, I remember back in the day when I was really struggling for money, and you guys don't have to do this, but I just did this for fun, and it was kind of silly. But what I did is I went to the grocery store and I wrote down, like, I would buy a carton of eggs and I'd calculate how much each individual egg was, and I would write it down on a piece of paper. Like, I had this big booklet that would be like, okay, here's all these individual things. So like, here's how much an individual slice of bread would cost from a loaf of bread. Here's how much an egg would cost. It sounds silly, but at the time when I was really crunching to save, it made a big difference, because like I could look like, okay, I'm gonna have 2 eggs, scrambled eggs, two eggs and 2 pieces of toast and a cup of tea for breakfast, and ended up being like 50 cents. So you can see how, like, when you do stuff like that, you can kind of keep track of your meals and stuff like that, and you can see the value in things. And then over time, obviously, I don't do that anymore, and I make a little bit more money and a little bit more. I care more about my diet and stuff. But you don't have to go crazy. Like, just look for the cheap things. Like, go to the grocery store, educate yourself, go to different ones. A lot of the bigger chains I find tend to have better deals, but you got to kind of look around, kind of thing. Find a store that's cheap and close to you, and use that as a reference, and look up some good cheap meals online, and it makes a big difference in your grocery budget. I spend now about $50 a week on groceries, and I know some of you guys might think like, oh, well, that's pretty expensive, but I do pay for like it's roughly split between 2 people, as well as we have 2 cats that we feed, so that's kind of like everything combined together. So maybe if we didn't have the cats and stuff like that, we'd be spending like $30-40 a week in groceries. So but like back in the day, I was spending like $30-40 for myself per week in groceries. And if you do the math, it's about $100-ish per month. So for one person, that's not too bad. If you can keep your groceries to about 100 to 150 for one person, I think that's pretty good, especially if you're eating like half decent. If you're eating like a lot of like vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. I think that's pretty good. Just don't buy like the garbage pre-made sandwiches and all that junk, because that stuff will just kill your budget. And that goes into my next thing I'm going to talk about, which is eating out. When you're working minimum wage and you're trying to save money, you cannot eat out. Like, I'm going to be honest, guys, like you would just kill your weekly budget. Like you could go out for lunch somewhere, you could get a burger and fries at a restaurant for like $20. There goes your weekly budget. You could get so much more if you went to the grocery store. So if you can avoid eating out, that's going to make the biggest difference when it comes to saving money if you're working low income. And once you do it, it's really not that bad. Like, I found a love for cooking. Funnily enough, I found out that I have a love for cooking by stopping myself from ordering food and exploring new ways of eating and stuff like that. I actually enjoy cooking. I love to cook, and I would never have found that out if I didn't actually force myself to make things from scratch by saving money and not eating out all the time. So not eating out is one of the biggest things you can do, and it's when you think about it, it's so easy to spend money on just to order a pizza like one day a week, and I kind of do that now. And when you look at your grocery bill at the end of the month, you're like, holy crap, I spent $100 on pizza just by ordering one pizza a week. It really adds up really quickly. So avoid ordering out if you can. So next time, you want a pizza, go to the grocery store, look at the frozen pizzas. Maybe they're on sale for like $2 or $3. Sometimes stock up so that when you have that pizza fix, on the weekend, you're like, hey, I want a pizza on a Friday night kind of thing. You can pull out your $2, $3 frozen pizza, and it's not as bad, right? So do little things like that, and that's what I did, and it makes a big difference. And really, in the end, you're not really missing out by not ordering food. Once you make food yourself, great tasting food, it tastes way better than the crap that you buy from the restaurants anyways, and you save tons of money by doing so. Alright, so the next tip I'm going to give you guys is cutting back on membership sites. Things like, now, there's nothing wrong with having like a Netflix membership, because Netflix is like $10 a month, and I have one myself right now. But when I was like going crazy, I did cut everything off. I cut off my Netflix. I had a couple video game subscriptions I cut off, and individually those things aren't too bad, but like they do add up. Like if you have a Netflix, then you have a Spotify, then you have like a membership for a gaming site or something like that, it really does add up, because that can easily go to be like $10 a month for maybe one, to $50 to $100 per month. And when you have a bunch of them, chances are you're not even using them in the first place. So cutting back on the memberships and the pre-approved payments, this is a big one for me. I used to have tons of pre-approved payments. They go through and I wouldn't even notice it, and I'd just be wasting money on things. So go into your PayPal account, get rid of all your pre-approved payments, go into your bank or your credit card if you have one. You probably shouldn't have a credit card if you're low income, but if you have a credit card, go into there, cancel all your pre-approved payments that you have, because a lot of times they'll go out and you won't even notice it. And I've heard horror stories of, like, I remember talking to one of my friends. We used to play a game called RuneScape when I was a kid. I remember talking to one of my friends, it was a guy I work with, and I remember, like, I don't know how people do this, but I guess if you're really bad with personal financing, you might not notice this, but he had his RuneScape membership on for 6 months and he didn't even notice it. RuneScape membership is about I think it's about $8, $10 Canadian a month. So he wasted about like $60 on a game he wasn't even playing because he wasn't even paying attention. So make sure you pay attention to your pre-approved payments and cancel all those membership sites. Maybe stick to one or two. Like, there's nothing wrong with paying like $10 a month for a video game or for like Netflix if you're actually going to use it. But be careful, because those membership sites do stack up at the end of the day. And going in line with that, you also need to make a budget. You need to make a budget. Like, take your last 30, 60 days or so, write down every little thing that you spent money on, make a budget, and look at where you're spending your money, and treat everything on there like an opportunity to cut back on. And I mean everything. It doesn't matter if it's like your rent or your car payments or anything like that. Anything that you're spending the most money on, cut back on them if you can. And I'm sure in a lot of cases you can if you really try. And the biggest thing I noticed for me when I did this was I was actually spending a lot of money on video games. This is crazy. I was spending like $80 every other week. Like, I would buy a new video game, and half the time I wouldn't even play it. I'd buy a video game for like anywhere between $20 to $80. And, I would do this like every week or every second week kind of thing. And it adds up, man. If you're paying like $70, $80 for a brand new video game, that adds up, like that's like $100, $200 a month easy. And it's something you just don't think about. But if you have a budget and you track things, you can see that. So make a budget, open up a spreadsheet on your computer, and I'm going to actually make a video about this in the future because I think it is super important for people to see where their money is going. Sorry guys about that. My camera actually like recorded the maximum capacity of a video, so it stopped there. But anyways, to be on point what I was talking about, guys, the whole point is to see where your money is going, and then you can kind of cut back here and there, because you might not even be aware of it unless you look at your whole spending for the past like 30 days like I mentioned. So definitely make a budget if you can, and I will be releasing a video very soon about how to make a budget. So the whole idea with this video, and I'm going to kind of wrap this up pretty soon guys, because video is pretty long. I think we're hitting about the 20-minute mark, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. But the whole idea of this video is to start saving money. Like, learn how to cut back, learn how to save money. This will allow you to get ahead, and then you can stop worrying about like living paycheck to paycheck. And this is how it begins, guys. And the reality is, over time, you know, your income will rise. Even if you work a minimum wage job at Walmart or something like that, over time your income will rise, and there's tons of different opportunities to make money, you know. But really focus on saving first, and then once you get the savings down pat, you can start to be like, okay, well, maybe I can find a job working from home. That's what I did. You know, I work from home. Maybe you can start a YouTube channel like I did. You know, maybe you can, there's so many opportunities online to make income. You know, you could go and cut people's grass for like $20 an hour or more. Like, especially if you go somewhere where people are rich, like go to a rich neighborhood, offer to cut people's grass. I guarantee it, you can make like 20, maybe a little more than $20 an hour just by cutting people's grass as a side job and stuff like that. And it really adds up at the end of the day. There's a guy at my work. He has a business. He cleans up people's dog poop. He cleans up people's dog poop, and he makes almost like a full-time income from that. So, you know, there's tons of opportunities out there for you guys to make money. Sounds silly, but it's just the way it is. You know, people are lazy, and you can capitalize that. And if you're hardworking, you can start making money. And over time, your income will increase, guys. If you work hard, I can guarantee it. You start to learn about investing and stuff like that. You invest your money. You're smart with your money. Over time, your income will increase, but you need to learn how to save first, because you won't get there unless you start saving. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end this video here because I think I've like blabbed on long enough here. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want more personal finance and investing tip videos. But anyways, guys, that's it for here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Take care, guys. Hope this video helped you out, and I'll see you guys later.